Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mike Armstrong podcast show. And this afternoon, we're joined by Heather Barrie, who runs Harries Coffee, and also, what's the other name of the event?
My Networking Cafe.
My Networking Cafe. Yeah, sorry, but I didn't stick in my brain when you told
me.
No,
that's fine. That's fine. It's a new one on you. It's fab to see you again, Mike. Oh, well, chat with you. I can see you on Zoom, but yes, brilliant to be here again.
It's great to have you back on my podcast. As we were just talking about off air, you come on my podcast really early on at the start of lockdown, so probably sort of March, April time. And at that time, you were sort of pivoting your business, etc. Just tell us a little bit about what you were doing at that time and what you've been doing sort of briefly since then.
So the two main things that happened, coffee business, I was very much into wholesale, and my main customers were in cafes, bars, restaurants and offices. So literally on the 23rd of March, lockdown happened and 98% of my customers closed. So it was I had to pivot immediately. So not only were people not buying the coffee, they also weren't exploring the idea of buying coffee machines. So yeah, I had to do an immediate thing. And the immediate thing that we did was to focus on retail, is getting lovely coffee to people at home. People were suddenly working from home, right? How can we make, my strapline at the time was making Zoom calls tastier, because we were all sitting there on this new phenomenon of Zoom, but you can still have good coffee. So my exercise at the beginning of lockdown was jumping on my bicycle and delivering coffee. Put a little mask on and I was delivering coffee to people at home. So it was a quick pivot that I needed to do, because I've obviously got stock sitting in a warehouse that needs to be paid for, and therefore keep shifting. So that was one thing, and that has continued and evolved into doing more corporate gifts and things for people to send out. So that will continue, and gradually the wholesale is picking back up again as we emerge. So that's really positive. The other side of things is that I realized, I had a chat with a friend of mine, again, as we went into lockdown. He lives in Yorkshire, I live in Sussex, and we realized that, a couple of factors were that, I'm very well connected, but I'm very well connected mainly in Sussex. Networking was all about going to lovely breakfast meetings and meeting people locally and chambers of commerce and all of those good things. So loads of people know me and my coffee, and you can see my fantastic hats. I'm very well known for my hats. So I could walk into a room anywhere locally and people would know who I am and what I do. So the coffee brand has got a hat on it. So it's all that. So that had to change very quickly. But Richard, my business partner, well, my now business partner, he's got a really good network of people. He's also very good at LinkedIn. So he does profiling, and he understands how use it a lot, but he's more the nuts and bolts. So we realized that actually it would be amazing to bring this together. I love networking. We've got Zoom, right? Let's get online. Let's bring together your network, my network, to network. So across counties, suddenly we can do that. And then we realized that actually the addition, if you layer on that extra thing of LinkedIn, is it's all very well for you and me to have a chat, and that's great. I know what you do, you know what I do, but actually I've got at the time 3,000 people on LinkedIn who would love to understand and know what you do. I can't tell them all personally, but actually if I share your content and your values and your value that you add to the world, if I can share that through LinkedIn, that's really powerful. And we've literally grown from there. And for me, it had to have the cafe name in it, because for me, where we come together and start conversations is in a cafe. We love to sit together and have a coffee and chat to people. That happens in a cafe. So that's how the name came about. And we've just grown it all organically, and it's been a really lovely journey, because we've met some incredible people who are kind and generous and giving, and yes, we're all in it together. We're all the same storm, but we're all in different boats. And people have just supported each other and helped each other, enabled each other to grow their businesses. And it's just been very heartwarming to see how our community has grown. It's been amazing.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it sounds like a very similar sort of journey to me. You know, I like you was very well known locally. Did a lot of networking events. You know, in the first year I went self-employed 8 years ago, I was doing probably 3-4 events a week. And then after about a year and a half, I dropped that down to maybe 2 or 3 a week. And you know, everyone knows me because of my shades, and I got a big personality. I'm not quiet and in the corner, and I to go socialising with people and having a drink. And, you know, get to know people properly and that sort of thing. So, you know, really well known. But then obviously the lockdown happened and you can't do any of that stuff anymore. And like you then, I've been using LinkedIn for 20 years. You know, I used to be a national sales director for 10 years in a business. So, you know, that's how we got hold of all of our prospects, was on LinkedIn. It was much easier than getting through the gate through telesales, which was when I took on a telesales team. We used to have to do, but I taught all my team to get through the gates and get straight to the decision makers through LinkedIn. So I've been using LinkedIn for a long time. So I've reverted back to using LinkedIn, you know, during the lockdown. I went online networking. Obviously, the network that I used to go to most often in the real world pivoted, went to online events as well. And you've been on a couple of those events with me.
Absolutely.
I started looking out to global events and where else in the world can I connect with people, because you know I've got a map. I bought a map of the world, and I decided actually I want to connect and network with people all over the world and make friendships over the world, and you know collaborations, and you know just help people. That old networking ethos of how you can help people and how you can build relationships and collaborations and lead referral partners. But now I do it on the world. I stick little red pins in different parts of the world where I've connected with people and I've met people, and I'm on a mission to become a global speaker. So the more people who know me, just like locally, everyone knows you locally, you know who you are and what you stand for. I want as many people on the planet to know me, because I love helping people, and I think if you get a big platform together, then you can help more people through that platform. And so
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important. You know, it's like sometimes I look at the word sort of help, and it's like, oh, that means somebody's, you know, that it's a almost sometimes people see it as a sort of a negative thing, or they need help. It's like no. It's like enabling and really encouraging people to focus on their strengths and what they have, what they can bring to the world, and how can we enable that. I was just thinking actually, as I was looking at your map and your pins. The last time I saw a map with little pins in it was when I was in Stockholm.
Okay.
And we obviously have a connection, because one of the big networks you're part of now has a branch in Sweden, and I'm a member there because I was in Sweden just before lockdown. And as you do when you go to a place you don't know, you stay in a little Airbnb. It was the strangest Airbnb I've stayed in that there was a bedroom off the bedroom I was staying in. That was very random, when a sort of slightly drunk person you don't know sort of wanders through your bedroom in the middle of the night to get to their bedroom, because it was very random. Unusual. Anyway, but on the wall they had a map, so you could put a pin, so wherever you came from in the world to visit Sweden. And obviously, as he's had his Airbnb for longer and longer, the pins are kind of you know, mounting up, and obviously there's little clusters from certain countries, but then there's a little random one from sort of Laos, or you know, from Chile or something, and you just kind of go, wow. Whereas through Airbnb, people are coming more connected, and now there's another whole layer of connection. Because I mean, you and I met through a friend of mine who lives locally. You're in Cardiff. We then met somebody in, I don't know, Northampton. I think it was Simon Cox or whoever. And suddenly, you know, 6 degrees of separation. No, it's not that. It's like 6 millimeters of separation at the moment.
One connection apart from everyone, more or less, these days.
I love it.
But
I love it.
And yeah, so like you obviously started doing more networking events, and I actually started doing these online network events, then global network events, and then I actually joined the company that I've been networking at for 8 years, Intrabiz. I joined them in September this year because they were going global, I was going global. It just, and I've been an ambassador for a long time, and it just, the timing was right for a perfect fit. We're both chasing the same people, if you like. I was chasing global entrepreneurs and networkers to get on my podcast. They're chasing global networkers and entrepreneurs to come to their networking events. So it was just like a marriage made in heaven. Well, let's just do 2 birds, 1 stone, get them to your event and then on my podcast, you know.
Absolutely. And I think that those, as I said, the sort of 0 degrees of separation that we have now. I think it's hastened how we connect with people and how we meet the right people to collaborate. And it's not, some of this is not for everyone. And some of the people you meet, you kind of go, no, it just doesn't work. You don't have to get on with everybody.
No.
Sometimes you're stuck in a room, in a Zoom breakout room, and your little heart sinks because you think, oh, it's so-and-so again. And you have a chat and have a conversation, but you know that there just isn't a synergy between you. It's not that you're not going to do, they're not going to buy your thing, you're not going to buy their thing, because as you and I know, networking is hardly ever about doing actual business with the person in the room. It's about those wider networks, which is why the LinkedIn thing for us was so important. It's the wider network and how to access that. But actually, you've got to have that space to build a relationship with things. And in a way, that was one of the things we did when I was first doing the coffee and thing. Is I was saying to people, send some coffee to somebody that you want to have a meeting with, because normally you'd go over to their office and you'd go to a coffee shop and you'd have a little chit chat. We can't do that. So the next best thing is, let's make Zoom calls tastier. Send some coffee to somebody and have that chat, because fika in Sweden is coffee and cake, and what better way, and a conversation, and just chat to somebody, and you've got a little icebreaker. So it's like, how can we make the world more connected through coffee? So that was how I was kind of blending my two businesses together. I'm always happy to sit down and have a chat with anybody over a cup of coffee. But you have to build those connections. You have to have the one-to-one afterwards. You have to follow it up. You have to, because I think some people kind of go, oh well, 60 people have just given a two-minute presentation about stuff, and I can't remember the first one. It's just like, just pick a handful. I think people also think, oh my God, I've got to connect with everybody. It's like, no.
Just pick the ones you'd like to go on holiday with, or you'd like to go for a coffee.
Exactly. Can I have a cup of coffee with you?
Yes, the ones who have similar sort of values or personalities or whatever, because you'll get on and you'll find a way of doing some business together or helping each other or whatever. It
was like in the in the good old days of networking in person. I think when you first start doing it, people used to run around the room and get a business card from everybody, and and then find them 3 years later sort of stuck with an elastic band around them, and they hadn't. And so what's the point? Meet one new person, connect and deep dive with one person that you already know, and sort of have an opportunity to collaborate or give somebody some insights or some assistance or some help or whatever you want to call it. And if you come away having done that in face to face, well, you need to kind of apply the same rules in the online space. You don't have to connect with everybody, because you know what, they're going to be in the same Zoom room next week, so you can go back next week. That's fine.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
you don't have to do it all in the moment. For me, sometimes you gotta go. You get 40 people reaching out on LinkedIn to become your friend, and then when they kind of come into your Facebook space and go, I want to be your friend, it's like, no, you're not my friend. I've known you for about a minute and a half. And perhaps we can have a conversation, but let's take this one step at a time.
Yeah, well, I had 250 people on my podcast, and quite a lot of them were podcasters and coaches and speakers and stuff. And since then, since you come on, probably about 2 months ago now, I started my own mastermind, which was mostly of people employed in the communications sector. We're called Strong Communicators, and there's mostly podcasters, coaches, speakers, networkers, that sort of thing. So I'd love to invite you along to one of our meetings. We've been meeting, it started off at 2 o'clock on a Sunday, and now it's 1 o'clock on a Sunday, and there's podcasters from all around the world. And
fantastic, I love that.
Yeah, and we actually started meeting just Wednesday gone now at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday as well. So we're meeting twice a week, and we're all getting to learn off each other, like masterminding about various different things to do with communications and marketing and podcasting and all of that as well. So Mark Jarrett, I think you've met as well.
Yes.
He comes on as well. But most of the people are podcasters. We get people from America to Australia and everything in between. And it's a really good event. So I'd love to invite you to that. I think you'd love that. Tell us a little bit more about this new sort of network and seminars and stuff that you're involved in.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for that. And yes, thank you for the invitation. I'd love to do that, because I think sometimes people go, yeah, that we're in competition with each other. No, there's enough love to go around. Whatever we do, there's always enough business and there's enough knowledge, and the more we share and collaborate, the better for the world. You know, it's a good thing. So it's just yeah, competition, yes, but actually collaboration and respect and connection is so much better.
Competition, because it's only ever one me, and there will only ever be one me, and so, like, you know,
exactly. I don't know if the world could cope with two Mike Armstrongs. I'm not sure it could.
I don't think so.
So one of the things that we really wanted to do with my networking cafe, as we were building, was very much focused around a community of people who are there to support and inspire and everything with each other. So it's grown organically. But one of the things that for me is really important. So I, like you, enjoy public speaking. I know a lot of people don't. I enjoy it. I love being on stage. But actually, I realized a little while ago, as an event I was doing at Portsmouth University, I have the great title of I'm one of the entrepreneurs in residence at the University of Portsmouth. Okay, and I was doing an event there, and it was around inspiring entrepreneurship amongst their sort of final year female students. And we did this incredible day. It was amazing. And through various connections and so on, I was invited to not only be the master of ceremonies, but to be one of the keynotes. But also, did I know a couple of people who could, and there was specific subjects, and I got a couple of people involved, and it was just the most amazing day. And I just thought, okay, this is my happy place. I'm kind of, yes, it's nice to sort of run the show and kind of keep the whole thing going, but inspiring people, you know, it was just a brilliant day. And I knew that
what was your keynote about? What was your keynote about?
My keynote was actually about how to network.
Okay, that's good. That's a good keynote.
So it was about talking to people who'd never done any networking, or if you're just in startup phase, or if you're in the idea phase, because I think a lot of people are really scared that I'm in the idea phase of my business. If I go networking, somebody's going to nick my idea, and I totally get that is a scary place. But as we've just been saying, there is only one you, and there's only one. So it's one of the things that we do. And somebody said, "Oh my God, that's such a great format. I'm going to nick it." And I thought, that's fine. Yeah, it's just a format. It's fine. You can take that, but the way you do it will be different to the way I do it. So obviously you don't give away your patented formula or your whatever, but you can still get out and network early stages, because you need those connections to enable you to grow your business. You need to have people who will support you or give you inspiration or give you ideas. Because I think sometimes people kind of go, you know, oh, I can do this, it's my idea, and I'll do it all on my own. It's like, no. You can only do this with other people. You just have to have other people around you. You know, a team. You know, even the best Olympians have a team. They cannot do it on their own. They have a coach. They have a team. They have a mentor.
Yeah, every top entrepreneur or successful person will always tell you, you know, their success is down to the team they built around them.
Absolutely, 100%. And it starts right at the beginning. So that was the keynote, and it was brilliant. And the couple of people I brought in to come and talk to do two of the keynotes. One was my mum, who is amazing, and one was a very good friend of mine, or someone who I sort of had not long met, but who has become a very dear friend. And I realized that it was also the dynamic between the three of us that worked very, very well. Anyway, so this idea for this getting this different perspectives on particular issues was great. And I looked at how I could get that into corporates. And I was trying to sort of weave that in with the coffee, and it was too complicated, and it just wasn't really working. But interestingly, now that structure has now become something that we put out in monthly learning summits, active learning summits, in our community. We've done the first two. So the first topic that we had was about charging your worth. And again, 3 completely different perspectives on that one key thing. We all need to know about it. And I think for me is that when people are involved in their businesses, sometimes it's hard to see things because you're so up, you know, it's too up close. But also what I know about charging your worth and what you know about charging your worth, completely different. Your attitude, my attitude, completely different. So by having these, the way that we structure it was brilliant. So there was something in it for everybody. So everybody who came learned what they needed to learn because they were coming from a different place.
Different perspectives of the same
absolutely,
thing. Yeah,
absolutely. And then we have, as part of the structure of it, we have some active learning. So you actually, right, what can I implement straight away? And you engage with other people. And then at the end of it, we actually have some networking, so that all the people who've come to the summit will be from completely different walks of life and so on, but then they get to connect with each other. And that, it's been so well received. I genuinely, totally beyond my wildest dreams as to how well it went. And that, you know, we've got the next one already. We're lining up for January. So I will give you details as soon as we've got a date in the diary. And we've also, part of it is that we also give people within our community the opportunity to be the speakers, because I think there are some people who, literally the one we did about a week ago, one of the girls has never done any speaking, and she was absolutely brilliant. Yes, she was nervous, but we were all there to kind of support and whatever. And we gave her, you know, here's the background for your PowerPoint, and here's the thing for your leave behind notes, which we sort of give to everybody. And so she didn't have to, she just had to do the content. We'd given her the title, she had to do the content, but she was paired with somebody to do it with, and it just worked superbly. And what's been very exciting for me, so we'll continue to evolve that. And what's really exciting is we've now been approached by an international membership organization. So they operate in the sort of health and well-being sphere, and we're chatting to them now because they said, actually, we love what you did, we love the content, we love the structure, we love the energy, because it's kind of, it's vibesy, it's kind of, you feel like you're in the room. And what we would love to do is we would love to be able to deliver that to our members. And we've been talking about this with my business partner to do it for a couple of people already. It's like, well, if we can deliver that same content and that structure to other people's membership organizations, because they then don't need to do that because there's no point duplicating it, which for us is fantastic for our growth potential. It means we can keep putting all these on and evolving that, but it gets it out to other people who can really add value to their members. With you know, obviously there's some cost involved, but not, you know, it means they can add a lot of value for, like, they can add a membership tier, for example. So the client gets huge extra value. They get to do some networking with people that they would never come across, which is very exciting for me, because, like, pulling, as we've talked about already, pulling together different networks. And we are so excited about this. It's just like, so for me, 2021, and yeah, I know we're all in this, there's a lot of awfulness going on in the world, but there are positive things. And I think that as excited and boisterous, energized entrepreneurs, it's up to us to find the ways to drive change and to make the world a more positive place. I want positive things to come out of this awful situation.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm on that mission as well. And as you know, Intrabiz, which I started at in September, being a member for 8 years before then, we did our first global summit, pivoted again online.
I know, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I managed to get to a couple of them. It was like in a mad crash week that I was in. It was just like, whenever I could, it was like, dive into Facebook Live and listen and pick up, and I know that you did recordings and stuff, but it was brilliant. Yeah, I know you guys brought it together really quickly, but because of your global reach that you have, the speakers were, top draw.
Yeah, exactly. And what we decided, we had a load of speakers lined up because of the pivot that we done this year, and going online and having a masterclass every Wednesday for 6 months. And we had good relationships with all these speakers. I could invite them back to one big event, and we done that one big event over 3 days. And now we decided we're going to do 3 more next year. I think one's March, one's July, and one's October. And the next one we're going to do is more a members one. It's more for up-and-coming speakers rather than the Les Browns and the Shannon Hectors and the Brian Tracys of the world. So similar sort of, to the people, I suppose, who speak at yours. So there may be a bit of, come and speak at ours, come and speak at yours. And if they're looking to increase their brand awareness or their speaking ability or whatever, then there could be a bit of collaboration there.
I think that would be brilliant, and I think it is about having opportunity. This is I was listening to something recently, and somebody was saying, is saying that there are opportunities, a bad thing. It sounds like you're taking advantage of the situation. It's like, no, there just are. It's opportunities always arise in no matter what's going on in the world. There are always opportunities, and so long as you're not.
I call them wins.
Yeah.
Wins. As long as everyone's getting some wins out of it, then it doesn't really matter.
Is this a good thing for the world and the positivity and the connection and the positive and the good things in life? Yes, let's go for it.
Yes.
Because the world will continue to change. The storm that we're in will pass and evolve, and we have to have an economy and a way for people to engage and interact as we come out of this. So let's make it happen.
Yeah. So how do people find out more about your summits and that sort of thing? Get involved?
Yeah. So the best thing to do, we have a little website that we've put together, which gives us some the basics. It's mynetworkingcafe, all one word, .com. And there's a little video that was done early on in lockdown. So my hair was very short because I shaved all my hair off. You might remember that from the beginning. I shaved all my hair off to raise money for 2 really important charities right at the beginning of lockdown. And so yes, so I look a little bit more bald than I am now. It's great. I've had 4 haircuts since I shaved it all off. Clippers are amazing. So for me, that was just an important thing. It was something I could do to make a difference. People were incredibly generous. It was just amazing. It's just like, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're so brave." I'm like, you know what? And this was right at the peak of lockdown, first lockdown. I'm like, what I'm doing is shaving my head. It's just the easiest thing in the world. Just like get some clippers and shave it off. It will grow back. Whereas, NHS and people struggling and care homes and all the very nasty situations that were going on, that is nothing. And I was raising money for a local domestic abuse charity, because you just think, my God, can you imagine anything more hideous than being stuck? You have to be at home with this person who is, and it was just awful. And I would say, it was amazing. People were just incredibly generous. Brilliant.
Yeah, and for those listening on this video, they can check out intrabiz.co.uk for the Intrabiz information, and go to the Intrabiz Global Summit page, and they can find out more information there. So that's 2 sort of places that people can go to increase their brand and get comfortable speaking and all that sort of thing. I don't know if you do this, but something we do is we give people a show reel as well, so they've always got that then to get other speaking gigs as well. So that would be a recommendation of mine for you, would be to film it and make sure they have a professionally produced show reel. That's good. Yeah,
that's a really good, because I was sort of, when I was first looking at, I wanted to be on stage and so on, and keynotes, and going actually, and then realizing that actually where I really want, being the MC was very much more the thing that I really enjoy doing, or being the facilitator on a panel. That's very much that's a much better place for me than being the keynote. I just prefer it. And so as I write, I need to go in and do the show reel. And also, I think one of the things people forget in terms of building their speaker profiles, and my friend Lavelda teaches people this, how to make sure that you're a quick plug, Lavelda Vincenzi, who is really encouraging women to get on stage. There are not enough female speakers out there, so come on, let's do this. And one of her things is that if you want to be seen as a speaker, your profile, your LinkedIn profile, needs to show that you are a speaker. So start getting it. And I know, I'm speaking to myself here. got to get it done. It's just coming back to, in terms of contacting us, My Networking Cafe. Also, please, find me on LinkedIn, connect with me. Let's have a chat. All our communities are different. There's loads of networking going on, and I know they're all different, and they all bring a different thing. And just because you're a member of one, it doesn't mean you can't be a member of the other. We're all members. Mike and I, between us, are, several dozen networking events. But that's all good thing, because, somebody meets somebody. I mean, I had I just have to tell you this quick because it was just so bizarre. I was Interbiz Sweden. We had a little midweek sesh. So there were literally half a dozen of us in the room chatting. There was me and 4 people I knew. There was one girl who I'd not met before. Transplant South Africa. She was living in Spain. We were networking in Sweden, and she tells the name of her company that she works for. She's worked with them for 1 week. So she's really new to the business. And I thought, I know the name of that business. And I just quickly checked, and I was right. The business she knows, which is a British company, she just happens to be living in Spain, and she's doing their outbound sales for them, which you can be anywhere. The guy who is the chief exec of that business was somebody I used to serve coffee to at my little pop-up coffee bar at Arundel train station, which, if anybody lives in the UK, it's a very small train station. And I'm like, okay, this is like South Africa, Spain, Sweden, and Arundel. And you kind of go, this is insane. There were literally 6 of us in the room. I go, okay. And Claire is from Entrepreneurship Sweden, and me, both of us can talk for England or Wales. And we're both just sitting there kind of slack-jawed. It was just like, wow. So
I've had a few of those. During the time where, I've gone via, say, South Africa, and someone's gone via, say, the southwest of England, and I met somebody from Cardiff, so we had to go via various other locations around the world to meet someone that was local to you,
2 minutes down the road. I love that. It's all good stuff.
And obviously I invited you to the Strong Communicators Mastermind on Sunday. There's one tomorrow, 1:00, and I'm thinking about doing a summit, Strong Communicators Summit, in May. Probably towards the end of May, and I'm going to have people who are going to help me promote the event and speak on the event, etc. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to be a headline speaker at events, and the best way of doing that is putting your own event on and headlining it. So,
well, they always say that about networking. If you can't find the networking event that you like, well, start your own, which is kind of how my networking cafe started. It was just like, that's what we want, and it's worked. So it's great. I'm really excited to find out more about the Strong Communicators. That for me is a good place, as I say. And there are very few female MCs. There are not many of them around.
No.
So maybe there's a little opportunity, something.
Maybe there's a gap there in the
little gap in the market
for you. Yeah. Yes. Well, and also I quite like you do your coffee gift sets and that sort of stuff. If I do an event, I want to do something different and better than anyone else, because that's my competitive nature. Yeah. So for me, it's about, okay, I want to charge tickets to attend my event. I want to deliver value. Yeah. So I may be interested in how I do that. I want to like Tony Robbins, for example, gives people a pack, like an event pack, to get them involved.
It's a delegate pack. Actually, one of the things that we've been doing is just people who have meetings and so on, right, send the coffee out and some biscuits and bits and pieces, that you just have that collective experience. So that we've all been to exhibitions and so on, and you bump into people, and there's the coffee area, and you just randomly meet people that you would never normally meet, and you have a chat and so on. Obviously we have to slightly construct that accidental meeting in the breakout space, but it can happen. But I'm really interested in gamification. So how you change behavior through gaming theory. And one of the things that we looked at doing is how can we get delegates to interact with each other differently. So when they all come, because I think you go to a lot of events and you've either got just the speaker, big screen, you're off in a corner here somewhere in sort of Zoom Netherlands, and you don't get to interact at all.
No,
that does my nut.
I hate
Can't bear it.
Yeah,
can't bear it.
Yeah, me too.
Or you end up with
like
everybody kind of
well,
it's like there's a free for all, or you've got 25 people staring at you, and you say free for all, nobody can get a word in edgewise. But also you kind of go, I have no idea what that person does. So if there's no way of any sort of accidental interaction, I go to quite a few exhibitions in London when we can.
Yeah, me too. I love those events. I love those days.
Yeah, you end up catching the DLR round from Tower Gateway round to the Excel. And you can spot the people that are going to the exhibition you're going to, because there's a certain look about them. And afterwards, they're all carrying the same tote bag. And you end up having these random chats with interesting people that you would never, ever meet. And I love that. So what we've done for one of my clients is that we sent out little boxes of goodies. So it was a morning event. So we sent little breakfast things. So it was granola and jam and marmalade, all sorts of things. And then we put a little coloured dot. So we pick 4 colours, and you pick a coloured dot, and you put that into the different boxes. So then all the people with a yellow dot, put them into a room. So we kind of just made it fun. And we're doing it for a Christmas thing for somebody. So it's like, all the people with a yellow dot, you have to wear a silly hat. All the people with a red dot have to wear a silly tie, whatever it is. But you can play in a way, or you can then also, I know a guy who does some training around, you've got the 4 colours, the high red, yellow, in terms of how you behave and how you interact and work. And you kind of go, right, so that's what that personality is more like. Have you been randomly given the right colour dot? And if not, how would you swap? And you can play and get people interacting, because we can't do it in person. We can't move around the room. So how can we make it as lifelike and as interesting? Just sitting here on your bum for 5 hours, staring at a screen with somebody. What's the point? You just disengage. You do your emails.
I do speed networking. It's called networkingonzoom.com, I think, with a guy called Jared Hammond. It's 7 till 9 o'clock UK time. It's in America. So it's usually morning time, I think, on a Thursday. But it's 7 till 9. It must be afternoon time, I guess. But they do lots of different breakouts with different themes, different questions to ask, and different answers. And that's quite interesting. So I could send you the link for that one.
That'd be great. Yes, because some speed networking is like, especially if you're not prepared for it. The first time I went, it wasn't what I just knew I was going into events. It was early lockdown. I knew I was going to some networking event, so I just arrived in, and I literally switched on the computer, went into this room, and we went straight into breakout with like one other person, came out 3 minutes later, and immediately into the next one. And after about 20 minutes of this, I like networking. I like meeting new people. And I'm like, oh my God. And I had to leave. I couldn't do it, because I've now been back to the same event, and it is actually very good. But if you're mentally prepared for it, you've got to know what you're going into, because it is very alarming if you're not prepared for it.
Well, this one can have a bit of that towards the end, but usually it'll go into a room. You'll have 4 or 5 people. You'll all talk about specific questions or themes, and you come back out and you analyse what was talked about. Then you go in again, and then you do that a couple of times, and then it goes to that bit of that round robin where you just, you're in. It's
the free for all.
Now a couple of minutes, and then you're like, back out and back in again, and wherever. It builds up to that.
You do meet, and again, it's that thing of that quick rapport. Can you make the rapport? Is this somebody? And I think sometimes people, again, when you first start doing it, you kind of reach out to everybody. It's like, if you were in person, would you have a quick cup of coffee with them afterwards? Do you want to engage? Because you don't have to engage with everybody. You really don't.
No. Now, did you go to the Revival Summit, which was on last week as well? It was on Wednesday last week.
No.
Revival
missed
Summit.
That one.
I missed it as well. I signed up for it, but I didn't end up with a link. I think I signed up on LinkedIn, and I needed to register on Eventbrite as well.
Yes. That's one of those things. It's one of our recent learnings, is that you can put an event on LinkedIn, and if somebody says going, it doesn't mean anything. What it means is they think they're going. They've got to click the ticket thing and book. Even if it's a free event, it doesn't matter. They've got to, they've got to do. do their bit. Yeah, we're going to have a bit of an online party. I'll send you the link for that next week, Thursday. That's Thursday the 17th. So whether this goes out before December, just to kind of bring networks together, just get some new people.
I'm definitely up for that. I'm definitely up for that. And also,
I know you. I'd love to see you there.
Yeah. I love a party. Anyway, I love a party. And
exactly. You're gonna have to bring your own stuff with you, but your own cracker. Sit there with a cracker.
But I'm a social drinker, not I don't sit in the house drinking on my own like most people do. Lots of people do. They like to. A lot of people like to. It's part of their medicine,
ritual,
self-care, or whatever they call it. It's part of their relaxation in the evening, having a glass of wine or a bottle. I don't do that. I'll it's like the football's on or the rugby's on. I'll have a can while I'm watching that. But other than that, I like to drink socially. Yeah, and so I've missed that.
I'm the same as you.
I've missed it a lot since March, and so any excuse at the moment to have a drink with somebody else, even if at least it's a bit of a social gathering,
I've discovered a couple. Been looking, but a couple of because there's so much demand for no alcohol lager and ale and so on. They've actually started brewing some really good stuff. So for me, sometimes there's that psychological thing of the pull pour thing, but actually I'm not piling on. I think it's a great expression. Somebody's like furlough Merlot.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who struggled with the furlough Merlot, but
I tell you what you should get into. This is what you should get into because this fits in perfectly with your brand, right? And that is coffee related cocktails.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's extra coffee product, and obviously some people like to have a meeting over a coffee, but some prefer to have a meeting over a drink.
At the end of the day, yes, the espresso martini, obviously being the most famous one. I have a friend who's they've got a very fancy shed in the garden, which is actually a bar, really. It's what it is. It's really nice. And through lockdown one, they literally every Friday it was cocktail hour, and they would be demonstrating people how to make some lovely cocktails. But yes, no, I shall look into that. I think I kind of get so wrapped up in the more, because I don't like cocktails. It's not my thing. So I'm very passionate about my really good morning coffee, and if you can only have one, make it a good one.
A good one, yeah.
That's always my parting shot. Mate, if you're going to drink coffee, drink the good stuff.
Yeah, great. Well, I love I think business is about growth and diversification and that sort of thing. And I just think some things just are a perfect fit. And I think you and socializing and networking and stuff, and the coffee, just to me, it's a perfect fit. It expands your hampers, it means that you could do alcohol hampers as well as, and actually, I tell you what, something else which you should look at, I don't know if you thought about it or not, is subscription services to your coffee or to your packages. You could do the same for alcohol subscription, because like you say, people are at home at the moment more than they've ever been before.
Absolutely. We're actually focusing on the subscription, the coffee subscription, which we're launching in the new year. And actually a friend of mine, she's going to be, we're in early stage talk, because she's going to look after it for me, because I don't have the time, the capacity, but where she's going to start building a network of people who can find people. So it's not network marketing, because there's no margin in bags of coffee. There's margin in a latte, but there's no margin in a bag of coffee. Trust me. I'm doing it for many years, I know. But we're getting a network of people who can, who know people who want to do the subscription model. So it's going to be literally a very simple affiliate model online. So we're just working on the website on that at the moment. So that would
make a great Christmas present as well. So instead of buying someone a coffee or a coffee hamper or something like that,
so have coffee delivered every month. Have coffee delivered every month for the year. I don't think we're quite going to get it in time for this year, but that's one of those things. But for us, if we can do it as an affiliate model, if I can give my website is Harries, which is HARRIES-coffee.com. Slightly work in progress, so if it doesn't look quite right, that's fine. But it's how you find the coffee. But we've got coffee online at the moment in terms of just delivering it to your door. And as soon as we launch so if anybody buys some now, that they just want delivered, just ordinary coffee without a hamper or anything, just some ground or some beans. We have a very good decaf as well for those who can't do the caffeine. It's very, very good Swiss water decaffeinated. So it's
brilliant,
proper quality.
I think there's going to be a big run of especially subscription alcohol services, because obviously all the pubs are shut now and everything, like, you know, and gin clubs and wine clubs and all of
absolutely
clubs ranges, but all the rest.
If I'm totally honest, because I do actually have an alcohol license. I'm a license holder. So, but I can only do wet sales. I can't do on sale. I can't, sell bottles of gin. And if I'm 100% honest in terms of the logistics required to start sending alcohol, because it's in glass by post, is an absolute nightmare.
I mean, think about those cartons with the straw on the end. They use screw on and that.
Yeah, I know. To be honest, I love the idea. I would rather collaborate with somebody, and they can do the alcohol bits, and I'll do the coffee bits, and it just the logistics of the capacity that I have. I think yes, because I've got. I do have a pop-up gin bar for the summers, and very randomly, I think I know about a dozen people that literally know that I can sit down and have a meal with. Distillers of fine gin. So I'm very well connected in the world, and I just think actually I'm gonna let them do it. That's their business. They're very good at that, and I'd rather stick to the coffee side of things, where I know I can do it well. But yeah, absolutely. The subscriptions, as I say, if anybody buys any coffee in the next wee while, we've got your contact details from when we're sending it to you. So as soon as we launch the subscription model, we'll do that. Literally 3 little bags of gorgeousness will land on your doorstep once a month. And yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I usually end by asking how can people get in touch with you, but you've already covered that for both the
and LinkedIn land is also got the websites, and LinkedIn land is also. That's where I hang out the most, is LinkedIn.
Yeah, brilliant. And I'm probably connected with you on LinkedIn. I'm sure I have, but I don't see a lot of your posts, and that's because you have to like people's posts for a while before they start popping up in your
LinkedIn. Yeah, so let's engage with each other's posts in the next week to kind of get LinkedIn doing its thing for us.
Yeah, definitely, because I got a lot of pages on LinkedIn, company pages, as well as private, my own account. And so when I see people who share good content, I grab their URL and I'll pop them on my page. So they're like blogs, they're like news pages of.
They are, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, we're starting to develop that more. The more as our businesses have evolved so you're sort of learning. There's so many things that you can do, and so like again, it's for all of us. It's like finding the time. Which thing is the most effective.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. Yeah, it's a bit like the ikigai of doing the thing you love. Will people pay for it? Do they want it, etc. Does it make you happy? And it's the same with is it something I enjoy producing that people want to engage with? And I think we're still finding that balance.
Yeah, well, I got a Welsh biz page where I talk about everything that's going on in Wales, and obviously because I used to do a lot of Welsh networking and a lot of my contacts are in Wales. But I've also got a global biz one where I put everything that's going on globally. So all the people I'm meeting globally now, I share their news and their information. And then I've got an MA consultancy one, which is my business page. And that I tend to put on there everything from everywhere, So,
from that lovely world map you've got behind you.
Yes, definitely. And I'm looking forward to getting in, doing your party week next week, seeing you at the mastermind next week, and then seeing how we can help each other more as we go on in our sort of crossover networks that we're in.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's been fab catching up with you, Mike. It's really always a pleasure.
Yes, and definitely it's been great having you on the podcast too, and I look forward to the next time.
Brilliant. All right, lovely. I'll see you on Wednesday.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers.